What's up YouTube, Cap over here, and welcome to our Week 3 Team Builder as we're taking on the Steel City. Snorlax is coached by David. Be sure to smash that like button and sub to the channel. David also has a channel, so I'll put it in the description down below. And boy oh boy, this is one of the teams that I am really scared to go up against just because from the past season. And just anytime when I just see a matchup against David, it's interesting for me because I don't really know what he's going to bring or what sort of sets he's going to bring. He's a bit unorthodox sometimes, or unpredictable, so that's really scary for me. And he also has a really good team against mine in terms of like just matchup and whatnot. This is one of the few teams that I don't really feel that confident in going into. So he has like Gladius, Mamoswine, Drapion, Electivire, Mega Blastoise, Infernape, Roserade, and Umbreon and Mismagius. So a lot of those things can do a lot of damage on my team. They have some really great coverage and they're really unpredictable. As opposed to like last season where he had a team that wasn't, in my eyes, one of the best teams that, you know, he could draft. This is one of the better teams in the league, and it fits his playstyle too. So I'm really scared. But anywho, we'll just jump into this. I decided to bring in Fortress this match just because when I was doing some test battles, my team was really prone to hazard stacking. So I decided to bring in Fortress, and he's just, you know, I decided to make him a specially defensive Fortress just to take on things like Roserade if it doesn't have Hidden Power Fire. Latios was one of the things I was really scared of just because it does so much damage. And boy oh boy, this is one of the teams that actually went through a lot of like editing and a lot of rethinking and reanalyzing. At one point I had like Wigglytuff and Skuntank and other things, and I took apart. So I decided to put on Walmaria. Walmaria is pretty much a good check to Latios if it's running Psyshock, Draco Meteor. Gyro Ball's doing around 50% if it's Choice Scarfed. I put on the Reflect just because he has a really physical team and it does a lot of damage to me. And it pretty much walls Umbreon to the T, so I have a little leeway on that. In terms of Stealth Rocks, I need Stealth Rocks because I don't know what sort of Infernape it is, or if he brings in Braviary. I don't imagine him bringing Braviary though, just because I don't really see it doing a lot. Just because like there's Fortress who could potentially just wall it. Victorian walls it, and yeah, so this Fortress is especially defensive. I sort of reversed the roles on like Victorian and Fortress. Victorian over here is my defensive wallow, and it should be doing a decent amount of damage. I'll be running Surf, Protect, Ice Beam. I think I'm switching that to Scald, just because I think Scald's going to be a bit better. Like I said, he has a really physical team, and getting that 30% chance of burning, 30% chance, right? Yeah, 30% chance to burn is really awesome. It could potentially bring Mega Blastoise into range of like where Outrage takes it down. He has no switch-ins to a couple of my Mons, and at that point, you know, he eventually has to start stacking things off. So I just put on Scald, Protect, Ice Beam, Wish. Mega Blastoise doesn't really beat it unless if it gets critted. Then I'm in a bad situation, and that's something I don't want to be into. So I also didn't opt to put on Heal Belt because I don't imagine him bringing like Toxic or Toxic Spikes or things like that, just because I have Skuntank, and he has things like Mismagius, Roserade, Drapion, I guess at a certain point, and Latios that can potentially get with it down with Skuntank. So Roserade doesn't really appreciate one-on-one against Skuntank. Just because it seems like it would be an endless draw of, you know, not a really great exchange for himself. Next up we have Au Contraire. This is sort of a controversy pick. I know a lot of contraires in there, but this one I'm not really that sure about bringing. I'm not that confident into bringing it just because, you know, he has like Mamoswine who has, like, you could put a Choice Band, you could Choice Scarf it, and it does a lot of damage. He has Roserade, he has Mega Blastoise, but it was one of the mons that I felt like I needed to bring just because of Mega Blastoise and how dangerous it could potentially be. Other than that, I don't, like, it's not a confident pick because I've been doing some test battles once again, and like Leaf Storm, it has to get a boost in order for it to be effective. And it was just something that I wasn't really comfortable bringing, but I knew I had to bring something like Electros or Superior to deal with Mega Blastoise. Plus it outspeeds everything on his team too. So I put enough investments on it, as you can tell right over here, just to outspeed, you know, timid Latios. Yeah, I'm intrigued, and the reason why I opt for Hidden Power Ice as opposed to like anything else is because Hidden Power Ice actually hits a lot of his team. So it hits Roserade, it hits Braviary, it hits Latios. It's just a good safe move just to click. Mamoswine, I believe, just it doesn't do much, but I have like things like Giga Drain and Leaf Storm, so I don't need the coverage on that. I have Dragon Pulse. It's just a safer move to click, because if I go for like Hidden Power Fire, for example, then he has things like Infernape, or I guess that doesn't really. He has things like Latios that can eat it up. Mamoswine just gets the thick skull, or thick skin, not thick skin. Pretty much it's just for like Braviary and Latios. That's pretty much it. I don't think, you know, he would switch like Roserade or on this, so that's what I'm hoping for. I don't think he's gonna bring like any berries or whatnot in terms of, you know, Roserade. It doesn't make sense for Roserade to have a Yachi berry, or it makes more sense to have like Roserade to have like a fire berry or something like that, a flying berry. I don't have any flying types actually. Something like that. It doesn't make sense for Roserade to have like a Yachi berry. Like Kyurem Black already does a lot of damage. So yeah, this is sort of an interesting set. I sort of had a bit of fun. I was gonna put Body Slam, but it's incompatible, so I was like, well, that sucks. This is Aslan, my Choice Banded Entei with Extreme Speed, Bulldoze, Sacred Fire, and Giga Impact. Extreme Speed, and just pretty much it's a standard set once again. It just does a lot of damage. Extreme Speed does around, I think, 40 to 50% on Electivire. It does so much damage to Infernape, Roserade, you name it. He doesn't really have a lot of switch-ins. Sacred Fire is way too good to click. Mega Blastoise, if it's offensive, it'll be taking around 40% just because, like, Stab, Sacred Fire, that is Choice Banded, is just way too good to click. So he doesn't really have much switch-ins in terms of that. And it just applies pressure. Giga Impact is just for my Hail Mary pass, just because I really want to click it, but it does more damage to a defensive Mega Blastoise. I think it does like 70%, which is something that I really want to click. So if Mega Blastoise is around that range, then I'm clicking Giga Impact. It's just in case. I know it sounds a bit silly, but I didn't need anything else, and the coverage that I have for it is really good. Pretty much this is meant to outspeed, you know, non-choiced Braviary, which again, I don't know if that's going to be a thing. If he brings in Braviary, it's going to be Choice Scarfed. Next up, I have my Sock, and this is sort of interesting just because he doesn't have a switch into Sock really, other than like Latios, but Latios has taken a lot of damage, and the Choice Scarfed variant of Sock actually does a lot of damage to his team. It's just ridiculous. Like I said, once again, thank you to Alex for helping me test out my team and whatnot, and really reshaping my team. This team didn't have Sock at the start, but you know, he has things like Umbreon and Armaldo and Drapion and Mamoswine and Braviary. It makes sense to bring it. So I brought in a Choice Scarf Adamant Sock with Close Combat, Earthquake, Knockoff, Ice Punch. I chose to opt for Mold Breaker because he doesn't have a switch into Mold Breaker Earthquake. Like, Electivire isn't taking it, Drapion isn't taking it, Braviary is the only one that wants to float and still take it, Latios doesn't take it, Umbreon pretty much doesn't want to take it, and Roserade. And this is one of the main reasons why I'm not thinking that Roserade will not be like have a berry on it, just because it's so unpredictable. For example, if I click Earthquake, it's a 2-hit KO. Knockoff, it's still like a decent 2-hit KO. Close Combat, 2-hit KO. Ice Punch is just for Latios, just in case. It does, and I don't even have to click Ice Punch. So it doesn't make, like I said, it doesn't really make much sense for him to have any berries whatsoever. Unless if it's like a certain check, so like Latios, it makes sense to have a Cold Berry. Maybe something will have a Shucca Berry just because his team is pretty weak to ground. but other than that, I don't know. I'm not sure. So this thing just does work. I'm really excited to use it. It hurts. Brings on the pain train. Next up we have El Capitan, finally for our 6th Pokemon in our 6th slot. This Pokemon's just great all around. I was looking at his team and I was like, David, come on, it's 2016. You don't have a fairy. Come on. I'm just going to click Outrage. I'm going to click Dragon Claw, Fusion Bolt, Stone Edge. I have 2 Choice Scarfers. Pretty much what this tells me is that, you know, if I get up rocks, I can click Outrage, and if I wear down his Pokemon enough, like to a certain point where like Mega Blastoise is at, I think 80 or 70, a bit below 70, no, like mid 70s, then I can click Outrage and actually sweep a decent amount of his Pokemon. Umbreon doesn't take it. Roserade, Infernape, Electivire, Drapion, Braviary, Mamoswine, Latios, no one takes Outrage. So for me, it's honestly just like a win button for myself. I have 2 Choice Scarfers because my Choice Scarfers actually do a lot of damage to his team. And I think this is like one of the few weeks where I feel confident in bringing 2 Choice Scarfers. But this is one of the few weeks where I'm like, I don't know what sort of mons he can bring against me. And I have to wait to see the battle to see what sort of mons he brings against me. Talking more a bit about Kieran Black in terms of that is just like Dragon Claw, Fusion Bolt, Stone Edge, and Outrage. Pretty much I'm going to be clicking Dragon Claw and Outrage a lot of the times. Rarely am I going to click Fusion Bolt just because he has Electivire, and Dragon Claw does so much to it, so much damage to everything, and I'm not predicting him to like predict me to have double Choice Scarfers. So that's pretty much the team. I'm a bit nervous about this battle. Like I said before, I don't know what he's going to bring in. I'm not super confident in terms of this battle, and this is most likely one of the few battles where I feel like, you know, I don't feel as prepped, I don't feel as ready for it, but I think we can still get the W if we just follow our plan in terms of like, you know, we gotta set up rocks, we gotta make sure he doesn't spin him away, we can't let like Mega Blastoise do his thing, we can't let Latios do his thing. Mamoswine is really scary. Roserade, yeah. There's like an Infernape. Infernape is always a problem when you have to go against it just because it's so unpredictable. Close combat, like Swords Dance Nasty Plot is scary. I don't know what sort of moves he's going to have on it. I don't know if it's going to be physical or especially offensive. So it's something that I have to feel out in the battle, see what happens, and really hope that it don't let it control the match. But that's pretty much the end of the team builder. Hopefully we can snag another W and go improve our record at 3-0. Hopefully, and I don't want another 6-0 in all honesty. I just want a good battle, a good, clean, fair battle. Nothing like no cheap shots or anything, but you know how it is. Anywho, wish us luck. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm gonna get going. So this is Cap signing off.